Leon White, aka Vader, has passed away. He reportedly passed away 2 days ago on Monday, and he, according to his son on his Twitter, he passed away at 7:25 p.m. So this news just broke this morning. Very sad story to hear him pass away. One thing it's really bothering me that hearing his news that this guy really wanted to go into the Hall of Fame. And I even remember 2 years ago when he was inducting Stan Hansen in the 2016 Hall of Fame. He was basically kind of auditioning. He was super entertaining and super likable. His speech was long, and it seemed like he really wanted to go in. So I am extremely disappointed WWE did not put Vader in the Hall of Fame. We can call him Vader, Big Van Vader. He's a legend, one of the greatest big men in the history of the business. Arguably the best. You can make an argument he's the best. I mean, the best 400-pound and over man without question. He had some great matches. He was an absolute legend in this business. Who can forget, basically from New Japan, which he was a big star, then he goes to WCW, becomes a huge star. He's a huge star there, has his great feud with Ric Flair. And then later he goes to WWF, and his WWF run was definitely disappointing, but I mean, his first 2 runs are legendary. Now, with me personally, the first time I was really introduced to Vader was through the WWF. One match I've always seen, I used to go to the video store as a kid and rent out this show a lot. It was No Way Out 1998. Don't ask me why it was there. I saw it a lot, and I saw his match with Kane. So that's when I first started to learn who Vader was, and I was a kid at that point in this feud with Kane. I know Vader probably wouldn't like that because that was probably some of the worst parts of his career, but I learned him through the WWF. Then I went and watched some of his old stuff in New Japan and the WCW, and the guy was a legend. And in WCW, he was such a huge star. The way he just beat the shit out of guys was great. In the WWF, when he first came in, he was a big deal. He came in 96, I believe, and he had the match with Shawn Michaels. He really should have beaten Shawn Michaels at that SummerSlam, but Shawn being Shawn, he did not. And he was still a star for a year. They had him team with Mankind for a bit. However, in 98, they fed him to Kane a lot. He lost to Kane so many times, and you can kind of tell they didn't have much plans for him. Eventually he left. He went back to All Japan. He wrestled at Pro Wrestling Noah. He made a stint back. I mean, he would appear on occasion to WWE. It was kind of cool, actually. And he made a stint in TNA, but at this point, his health started to go down. He was a great football player as well before he became a wrestler. Vader. He was a great player for the University of Colorado. He was a 2-time All-American. He was drafted as a center in the 1970 NFL draft. He was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, the 24th pick of the 3rd round, so the 80th overall pick. So Vader was an amazing athlete. You get drafted in the 3rd round of the NFL. He was hurt his first year. In the second year, he played in the Super Bowl. He actually did play. He got to play in the Super Bowl 14 against when the Rams lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-19 in that Super Bowl. And then I believe he had to retire because of ruptured patella. Then he gets into wrestling, the AWA. In 85 to 87, he goes to New Japan, has a great run there. It's just a monster, of course. The legendary with Stan Hansen. He told the story multiple times, knocking Hansen's eye out, when Hansen poked Vader's eye out, and those are some of the most stiff matches you've ever seen. Vader's one of the most stiff guys in the ring. He beat the shit out of guys. Him and Stan Hansen. You watch some of those matches, it makes you think. If you show someone, hey, look, wrestling's real, they'll never believe it. When they say, oh my God, they're beating the fuck out of each other, and they did that. Hansen poked his eye out, and Vader told that story at the Hall of Fame. He went by the name more Big Van Vader, of course, on WCW, who was there for a very long time. I think that's when he really became a major star. He actually did. He went to New Japan, returned to New Japan when he was about 41 years old. It was very briefly. And then, of course, he goes to the WWF at the time. And again, I think his WWF run was definitely disappointing. He was such a big star outside. I think he could have been a bigger star. Then, of course, he got older, and his career, he was in his mid-40s. A great career, just a legend. I have to say I'm extremely disappointed WWE did not induct Vader into the Hall of Fame. I think it's bullshit. He really wanted to go in. I think he would have been a good inductee to induct this year. He was a huge, he was one, for all the big men, he could arguably been the greatest big man in wrestling history. In terms of, when I'm talking like really big guys, like 400, heavy guys, he's easily the best. Legend. It's disappointing to see him go into the Hall of Fame because he's going to go into the Hall of Fame deceased. He'll eventually go. I don't know if it'll be this year. It might be in a couple years because there's still some dead wrestlers who they haven't inducted yet. So he'll go in. I'm sure he will, but it's going to be disappointing. It's going to be like, when Bruno Sammartino passed away earlier this year, I was saying it's unfortunately passed away, but at least he got to have that great moment in the Hall of Fame. He got to be honored. Vader's never going to get that. It's unfortunate because he was a big star, and it's like there was nothing with the company. I don't think he had any heat, nothing, no heat at all in the company, and they still won't put him in. It's really unfortunate. I think with Bruno, there's a lot of problems. There are other guys, the Ultimate Warrior. He at least got to go in the Hall of Fame. He passed away a couple of days later. With him, he did have that moment. There have been other guys who did pass, but they got to have that amazing Hall of Fame moment. Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes, so many legends who have passed but have had that moment. And with Vader, it's like he's going to be like the Randy Savage moment. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. His son is going to accept the award. It's like with Savage, you understand, like, it's horrible. He should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago, as with Vader. But Savage, it's more like he had problems. I don't think Vader had any problems. So it's really, this guy had health problems. I'll get into it. 2 years ago, I think he announced on Twitter, November of 2016, so not even 2 years, he announced that he had congestive heart failure due to football and wrestling. He had only had 2 years left to live, and he reportedly died because of this month. He didn't last 2 years, but I don't know if that was the reason. I think it was because of he was in a month-long in the hospital due to pneumonia, and that's what killed him. I mean, pneumonia, I think with that, it's like his health was so bad, that's what's going to kill him, and it's how he passed away. It's sad. It's like I would have loved to see him, and he really wanted to go in. It's like, it's not a situation Savage didn't want to go in. Vader really wanted to go in, and he's never going to have that moment. He just makes you think WWE probably has a lot of guilt not inducting this guy. He was such a nice guy and such a good guy. So, very sad. He'll go in, and it's not going to be the same, but that doesn't change the fact he had just an incredible career, an incredible wrestling career, one of the greatest of all time, and definitely the greatest big man for his size in the history of the business. As a big man, he has to be the best. So rest in peace, Big Van Vader, Leon White. Very unfortunate in the wrestling industry, lost a legend today.